Hello, I'm Malcolm Haslett.
And I'm Janice Baker. This is our 400th episode of Our Time. And how excited are we?
Whee!
We're very excited.
Oh, how lovely to be here with four very special guests.
Yes, we have.
Because neither you nor I were actually here on the very first episode of Our Time, way back in 2010. And I think the first show went to air on the 7th of November. Phil, you were here. Do you remember?
Yes, I
Phil,
remember.
you're our floor manager.
I remember it vividly.
Do you?
And we were a little bit green then, I think, and probably Andre will vouch for that too, I think.
Well, you were green because the whole show had a chroma key set then.
Oh, boom, boom. No, it was exciting, but it's really good to see how we've evolved over the years.
We've become much more relaxed.
We are more relaxed and we're, I would say, more professional.
Well, we joke about this being our 10th year, but we're actually starting the 10th year with this program.
Yes, we
which is great. Andre, it all started really with you being in a position to have a studio.
Sure, yeah.
What happened?
And, well, what happened was UNISA had a new studio and we didn't have any shows. And I'd previously run student shows and we were looking for a show to have. And basically John Gall came and approached.
And John had been a director at Channel 9 and then had worked for TAFE.
That's right. He'd worked at Channel 9 for years.
He used to produce the show I used to produce. He used to direct the show I used to produce, the Channel 9ers there.
Yeah, and John was a lovely gentleman. He had some really good ideas and was just, I think, very passionate about the role of community TV and of putting a show together where students could learn and he could have a lot of guests hosted and, you know, have a bit of fun with it. So he was a really wonderful person to work with.
And we have another Phil. Hi, Phil. What were you doing at the beginning with the show?
I was with the sound. I was miking everyone up, which was quite an interesting experience.
Was that new for you?
New for a television show, yes. So it was sort of crazy being in part of a team that was sort of mayhem.
But you've been away and now you're doing is it a doctorate in?
I've been loitering around, but yeah, just finishing up a doctorate in sound ecology. So it's sort of been a bit of an adventure from the sound department here into the world.
Never heard of that, Phil.
No.
Hope that goes well for you.
But just brilliant. And see, three Phils, but this is a F-I-L, Phil.
That's right, Philomena.
Philomena, you started at the very beginning. So where did your interest in makeup come from?
From being a hairdresser, I think, and it all goes together. I think, you know, ties in people, you want them to look their best, so that's how
But
we
it is an
started.
important part of television, though, isn't
It is, and just even to make the guests feel relaxed and, you know, talking to them, and they feel good if we talk to them first and they come on the show and talk to you after that. So.
And you do a great job.
Oh, no, not by myself. I was so lucky that John approached us from TAFE and from TAFE SA, Adelaide City Campus, and all the students that I've had, I couldn't have done it without them, so they were fantastic.
So in reality, for Janice and me, you see our faces and you see the faces of the guests. But it's always these people that are behind the scenes that always make it happen. So our sincere thanks on behalf of the public and for Janice and me as well.
Yes.
Because without you guys being there to start it all off, we wouldn't have come along. Janice in the 9th show.
Yes.
And me in the 39th show, I think it was.
Okay.
Because the show originally started like this, with two completely different hosts.
Welcome to the show. On today's show, we're going to find out whether we can give you some free financial advice.
And I'm going to be talking to someone from Red Cross. I can't believe how many services they have. I better go and get started.
Yeah, okay then, let's get this show going. We're lucky enough here in South Australia to have lots of organisations that are designed to provide you with assistance, especially with health assistance and information. And here's Deb to talk to us about one of them.
Oh, that was amazing seeing Robin and Deb again.
Yes.
Because it's so long since they did the program.
Well, they were the first ones, so...
They were. For how many weeks Deb did it and you came in on...
The 9th program.
The 9th program, okay.
Yeah, she had commitments with a course that she was doing, so she rang and said, "Would you please, can I recommend...
Take over.
Can I recommend you?"
Well, this was the rundown for the very first show. They're much more complicated than what this looks like now, but it's just amazing, isn't it, that things have changed so much. And one of the most popular guests on the program, this was the rundown that we had, one of the most popular guests on the program was Kimberly Davis.
Kimberly Douglas.
Douglas, I should say. Yes, sorry. It's been a long time since we've seen Kimberly.
Yeah.
And here's an interview, I think the first one with Kimberly and Robin.
Just Kimberly Douglas from perfectlynatural.com. Thanks for joining us, Kimberly.
Hi.
I've talked about the the have-nots. I guess you could say that wellness programs, a lot of them, depend on the have-nots, like the carb-free diet, for instance. They talk about not having carbs.
Sure.
This must have an effect on our body, though, on a long-term basis. Can you tell us what sort of effect it's going to have on us and how bad or good?
Funny about that.
Oh, no.
It's funny because seeing that set again, there wasn't a set at all. It was a green screen.
Yeah, it was.
And it was really hard because we couldn't wear anything green or we would have disappeared completely.
That was interesting.
Now, one of our friends, Wally Carr, who's sadly no longer with us, you got to interview Wally.
I did. He was a dear friend and he helped me with a lot of my songs when I was putting some shows together. So it was lovely to have him on the program and have a chat to him about his career.
Well, here's the beginning of that clip.
I'd like to welcome to the program Wally Carr. Wally, you've been a great friend of mine for a while and it's just such a pleasure for me to have you here. Thank you for coming in and giving your time tonight. I just wanted to start at the beginning. Your career has been going for a long time.
I was 14 when I started.
I was going to say, I thought it was about that.
I was going to school in the day and then singing 3 nights a week with a band.
Really?
Yes.
At 14?
At 14.
Gosh.
Yes.
And from there, then...
Then at 17, Josie Williamsons came to Adelaide and they held auditions.
For musicals?
For musicals,
they were
yes.
known for their musicals?
To be in the chorus.
Yes.
You know. Well, I did an audition for them and I got in. I was the youngest chorus boy they've ever had because the oldest one in the company was 62.
Is that
right?
right?
And he was a chorus boy.
And he was a chorus boy.
No, and then I went to Melbourne with them for 6 months.
Doing, what was the show?
Rio Rita.
Right.
And The Maid of the Mountains, all the shows. Gladys Moncrief was the star.
Gladys Moncrief.
She was the most wonderful woman and she was such a nice woman. It was really a pleasure to work with her.
Yeah.
And then we went to New Zealand for a year.
Really? And how old were you then? 18, 19?
I was 18, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I decided they were staying on, the company, and I decided a year was enough. So I came home and went to live in Sydney.
What did your parents think about that at the time? They
said, whatever you want to do, you just go and do it.
That's wonderful. So they were very encouraging. And then you went on to Sydney, and in Sydney...
No, I went to Melbourne
first.
6 months, then New Zealand for a year. Then I left Williamsons and I went back to Sydney and I worked at a place called Prince's Nightclub, which was the top nightclub in Sydney. It's a beautiful place.
And
with a man called Leo White.
And that's more like a cabaret type?
No, they didn't have cabaret. They just had the band and the singer.
Oh, okay.
And it was a wonderful job. And I got that within 2 weeks of landing in Sydney, so I was lucky.
Wonderful.
Amazing. Just lovely seeing Wally again, isn't
Brings a tear to my eye.
It does. And of course, there have been so many people on the program over the 10 years. We think over 1,400 people have appeared on the program that we've interviewed. Certainly people like the Governor of South Australia at the time. And he was a charming guest, Kevin Scarce. And then I came along. That was a mistake.
Well, no, but it was interesting because we had interviewed you. You were a guest like the others.
Here's that clip.
We're all quite sad to hear that Robin Reinfeldt will no longer be able to continue with Our Time due to work commitments. He has been with us since the inception and development of this program. From all of us here at Channel 44 Community Television, and in particular the crew of Our Time, we wish him the very best for the future. Thank you so much, Rob. Well, as they say, the show must go on. In today's show, we talk with Kevin Jones, the director of South Australian Maritime Museum. But first, if you wanted to take the pulse of the entertainment industry in South Australia and hear a declaration of its current health, one of the people you'd want to talk to is Malcolm Haslett. Malcolm has been involved in all aspects of the industry, from stage productions, children's television, programs, as well as a song and dance man, and currently he is creative program director for the Out of the Square group of suburban theatres in South Australia. Welcome, Malcolm.
Hello, Janice.
Hello. I need a drink of water after that. I got parched. No, it's...
And I'm also the owner and managing director of Mighty Good Entertainment.
And what else?
well, there's lots of things on the boil,
yeah.
as they say.
Oh,
but it's lovely to be here. Thank you so much for asking.
Yeah, great to have you on the program.
But it's lovely to be with you again, because we've actually shared so much time in our lives together, and I've just worked it out.
Don't.
Go on, let me say it. This program is supposed to be for people over 50. It's funny seeing how little you've changed. But then at the end of that program, I got a surprise.
Yes.
And this is it. It's lovely to be here, because again, we've spent so long together over the years. It's just lovely to be able to talk to you.
Very comfortable.
It'd be nice to see you every week.
Yes. Okay. So
and speaking of seeing you every week...
I know, you've done this to me. I had no idea this was happening.
What?
The photographs that you've brought in.
Oh, no, we're going to do a This Is Your Life. This is a surprise. And here it is. Look at those legs.
Oh, still got them. they're there somewhere.
They are.
Oh, her first false step.
Is that what it was called?
Yes,
Thank you for saying that. And that was Max Height with us.
Yeah.
Weren't we so pretty? And wasn't I so heroic?
Oh, look.
Here he is standing postulating while she's being whisked away by the villain. But look at this girl.
Oh, my.
No,
I haven't
Janice,
seen that
it's
one.
you.
No, I haven't seen that shot.
Well, I acquired these through very interesting means. This is in the same show. Julie Sheen is on whatever side that is.
Her name was Phoebe Featherplucker.
It was Phoebe Featherplucker. It was. And I remember we did a little number together, you in your underwear.
Yeah.
What happened to your dress?
And my shower cap. Oh, goodness.
Another little action shot.
Oh, Malcolm.
I was 14 and you were, what, 18?
10.
Look at those lovely shots of you.
That was a long time ago.
It was. But it's true that we've known each other for so long.
We have, Malcolm.
You were 16 or something.
17.
17.
Yeah.
I was 12. No, that's not true. I was about 25 or something when we first met and kept playing... got engaged, married, and heavens knows what else, including she wasn't called Princess Jasmine then, but you were the princess in Aladdin, and I played Aladdin at the Festival Centre.
Yes.
And then we were married in another show called Diamond Lil's Golden Nuggets.
Yeah, and the Old King's Music Hall, her first false step.
Oh, that was our first show together.
That was probably the first one.
So many memories, just amazing. And it's time for break.
Yes, it is. So please stay with us. We'll be back with more after this. Look, Malcolm, just explain to me, you've talked to some very famous people.
I've been lucky. Yeah,
Jessica Mauboy, how did you get that interview?
Well, Jess and Miranda Tapsell. Jess was being interviewed, I think, by Channel 7 at the time, underneath the seats in cinema in the city. And Miranda was walking around out the front saying, she came over to us because we had a camera and she said, no one wants to talk to me. I said, I will. And actually, she turned out to be fantastic, a great interview, as was Jess Mauboy. But it was funny that she's become such a big star now. And if you look in the background, you'll see their makeup person who was photo bombing
really?
Yes, we're just going to show you one little bit of that.
Okay.
But here's part of the interview with those two lovely girls. You were singing before and you sounded just fantastic.
Thank you.
Do you want to sing a little bit again?
Yeah. Sugar pie, honey bunch. You know that I love you. Oh, I can't help myself. I love you and nobody else.
Don't look at her. Look at me. Look at me. Look at me. I need that. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I love that. Now, girls, this film you actually completed over a year ago, and it's funny that you're now picking up the harmonies and the friendships that were so strong. And reading all the stuff about the film, it said how that the four of you in the film bonded together. So perhaps first of all, we should explain, where did the story come from?
Well, if you don't mind me saying, Jess.
I'm looking at you.
Thank you. Tony Briggs, the writer, came up with this concept of writing a play about his mum and his four aunties who formed a band called the Sapphires, and so so from there it evolved into the film that we.
Well, it was a stage show first, wasn't it?
It was, yeah,
Yes.
with Deb Melman herself.
You got to see it.
And I got to see it.
Miranda,
did you
that's
really?
what Miranda's
Yes.
got on me. See, I never got to watch the original, but she has a wonderful story.
Yeah, well, I was 17 years old and my mum said, oh, there's this show with Deb Mailman called The Sapphires. And so we went to Belvoir Street Theatre in Sydney to go and see it. And she was playing the character that I play in the film, Cynthia. And,
The naughty one.
The naughty one. And Wayne Blair, the director of this film, was Jimmy Middleton, her boyfriend. So it was... I turned out to be this mad Beatles fan when I watched it because
They used the music from that time period?
Yes, and they had my four favourite Aboriginal actresses on stage, and that was Deb Mailman, Rachel Mazza, who did Radiance, Lisa Flanagan from Australia Rules, and Ursula Jovich from Jindabyne. And so, I just lost control.
Oh,
My mum disowned
But
me.
that's what live theatre should do for everybody. It should really take you into the world and excite you.
And want you,
But you came into the movie quite late, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I received the film or the script around about 2 years ago, and this was when I was first releasing my first album, Been Waiting. So that's where it all kind of really started for me, and I was writing music, and a lot of things were happening at the time. So we kind of bypassed. A year had passed, and I got a second chance. Well, I felt I got a second chance, and
and this will expose you everywhere, basically, because the film's been released everywhere.
It has.
That's amazing. I was just saying the makeup guy was hovering around Jess the entire time, which is why she looks so good.
There you go.
Yes. Now,
So-
lucky me,
Yes.
I
And?
got to meet the Jersey Boys when they were here.
Gosh, I don't. Where
Where
was
were you?
I?
Here's the interview. Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons and their story. But it's done in such an interesting way in the show. Could you explain?
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. You know, this is a story that no one had ever heard about before, and through the course of the show, each of our four characters narrates a section of the show, and I guess we tell our version of the truth of what happened, and as the show goes along, you get different opinions and different viewpoints, and it makes a much fuller experience, I guess, for the audience, and you really feel like you get to meet these four guys.
You do. You actually feel that you get inside their head a little bit. And as an actor, was that difficult for you?
You know, there is that sort of challenge of like thinking, oh, I've got to take on someone who's a real life person. But you know, the script is so amazing and the story is so amazing that about getting your own characterization and understanding the elements that you have in yourself as me, Declan Egan, playing Bob Gaudio. So finding those elements and finding the similarities with Bob and then creating the character of Bob, I don't think it's that much of a challenge. I don't know if you guys...
There's definitely a lot of respect in terms of, you know, what we bring to the characters every night because they're real people, you know, they're, you know, apart from the character
that's the thing,
play.
isn't it? Real people. It's playing real people. Was that sort of an unusual challenge? Because in most musicals you don't get to play real people.
Yeah, you know, I guess you know, aside from my character Nick Massey, who's since passed, the other three guys are still still around, and both Bob and Frankie have seen the show, seen the Australian production quite a few times, and even Tommy, he's still in Vegas where he was exiled from the group, is still there and brings his mates to the show all the time, So there's a lot of I guess respect to bring gravity to these characters who are really interesting. Italian American, hoodlum guys from New Jersey of all places, who against.
You remember we used to be over on that side of the studio.
We did, behind a huge desk.
Yes, it wasn't a real desk either.
No.
It was a chroma keyed front on the desk. It was rather funny, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And this is how we used to do the promos.
Another interesting program, Malcolm, and it's another health forum that's coming up.
With our two best friends.
Sue and Ken.
And also Sarita and
Kimberly.
Now, this time in our health forum, we're discussing issues with the heart that can be helped with diet, cancer,
diabetes,
that can be helped with the heart. So whether you have any of these problems or not, it's worthwhile having a look at our next Our Time with our special guests, Kimberly and Sarita, and our two best friends, Sue and Ken. And just by the way, catch us on Facebook to find out who else is coming up in future episodes of Our Time.
I always enjoy Sarita and Kimberly. They're full of all sorts of...
great information
It
that
is.
our age group should know more about, and so should you. On Our Time, next time.
Join us then.
Funny thing about that was everything was false.
I know.
Even my teeth.
No, we were fine. So we've had some interesting people on the program. Politician, and one of the politicians was Nick Xenophon, and he was terrific because he actually was encouraging our audience to continue watching because we were concerned that community television would be no longer.
Well, it was going to close, and in this clip you'll see he's telling our audience that they should get on to their local politician. See what Nick had to say.
You are. It's very simple. Please go to your local federal MP and tell them that you support community TV, and the government's plans to shut it down by the end of this year is outrageous. It's not on. If it's especially for a government member, a member of the coalition, you need to get the message across to them. Knock on their door of their office, go and see them, go along with 2 or 3 of your friends and say it's not acceptable. This is the worst form of false economy. And also Mitch Fifield, Senator Mitch Fifield, the Communications Minister, decent guy, but we need to get the message across to him. Seriously, the only thing that can stop it now is people power.
Great, thanks for that. Nick was good though, wasn't he? He was good fun.
Yes, he was.
And he's very much a missing person in politics now, that sense of humour and always getting himself into trouble. But we have had an Olympian on.
Yes, now that was Libby
Kosmalis.
That's the one.
That's what we've been doing while we've been waiting to talk to you, talking about Libby's rings.
Welcome back, Libby.
Thank you very much.
You've been away.
I have been away for 3 weeks.
In Rio. The Olympics, Paralympics.
Paralympics.
And you're in the shooting.
That's right. Target rifle shooting. Target shooting.
I didn't have the correct.
So you promised us when we talked to you before a few weeks ago, or
before I went to Rio,
that you'd come back and tell us about the experience. So what was the experience like of being part of the Paralympics in Rio? And how much dancing did you do?
Not too much dancing. It was an amazing experience, and I thoroughly enjoyed myself. I did not shoot as well as I wanted to. But, sports people have those good days and have those bad days. And I just seemed to have a bad day. So that was bad luck. But I have retired from Paralympics. I've been now to 12 Paralympics.
Wow.
And that's, 40-odd years.
Now, how many medals have you won in total?
For shooting, rifle shooting.
Well, what else
12.
were you going for?
Oh, I got a medal for swimming years ago, my first Paralympics, yes.
We didn't talk about that before.
No, I got a bronze medal for
You're
swimming
a fish.
in my first Paralympics in 1972.
So
in
why
Germany.
did you change then from the swimming to the shooting?
Well, I was doing shooting.
It was the starter gun. That's what it was. We would introduce to you some of our family.
Yes.
And first of all, a show goes together because it has a producer, and our producers are...
Lisa is up there.
Yes, Lisa Stocko, and I help a bit here and there.
You do.
And Jan Day helps us. But the next most important person is the director.
And he's sitting right here.
Hello.
Jonathan.
Jonathan, how nice to get you down here on the floor.
Yes, this is very interesting.
Interesting.
Is this the first? Who's calling the shots?
Good question.
It is.
I could, but I don't think that would be polite.
I think he's all doing
What,
sign
say who?
language.
Oh, okay. Now, tell us your story. Where did you get an interest for television? Where did it come from?
My story? Good question. I've always enjoyed film and television, and it's just from watching far too much of it. So I enjoyed it so much, I wanted to be a part of it.
So you took up a university position? Course?
That's correct, yes. Bachelor of Media Arts at the University of South Australia.
And how
where
long
we
is that
film our
course?
time. 3 years.
Okay, and you've nearly completed that?
That's correct. I'll graduate in March.
Next year?
That's correct.
So what do you think the future's going to be for you? What's your great ambition?
The future? I don't know what the future holds. If I did, I would probably have people calling me God and not be sitting here. But my ambitions, I just want to be involved with television production.
Right.
Okay, but as a director?
That's correct.
Do you see your role in the future as being a director in a production sense, like as a producer-director, or just pushing buttons or telling people, we'll have that shot next, please?
Anything at all.
Okay.
I'm just thoroughly enjoying it and want to be a part of it.
That's wonderful seeing Jonathan. He's now working in Melbourne at GTV9. So it's great to know that the people that have been working on the show have fulfilled their dreams.
Yes, wonderful.
In fact, we've got someone on camera who's fulfilling a dream at the moment, but we might get to meet him in a tick. Welcome back.
Yes, so some years ago we actually...
First of all, we've got everybody back.
we have. Hello, everybody.
Hello, everybody back.
Some years ago we actually didn't think we were going to be doing the program.
No, some of you were in that group. We were all really upset because we thought the licence...
We were actually saying goodbye.
Yeah, we were. But this is what the crew looked like then. This is the lovely Lisa Stocko. Thank you, Lisa, for everything.
Thank you. We would like also to thank everybody here, but thank you, Malcolm, for supporting me in this. It's been totally... Oh, I'm getting emotional.
Don't.
Fantastic. Had a lot of fun with all of you. Thank you.
Yes, it really has been. And Janice and I have known each other since we were both teenagers almost, only she was a younger teenager than I was. And it's been a joy to be working with you too. And all you guys, thank you so much. That was amazing. And that was Jackson, our director at the moment, who was standing second in from the right.
Okay.
Thank you, Jackson. Everybody, what are your fondest memories, those of you that have got a microphone on, of the program over the last almost 10 years? Don't all speak at once.
Having pizza and eating cake.
That's what makeup girls do. What's been yours?
I think I enjoyed being interviewed with Nick Xenophon. That was lots of fun.
Yes, well, we've seen him.
And we had some really good fun musical acts, actually, too, which was great.
Yeah. Phil, what's yours?
I don't know. It's gone so quickly. I mean, that 10 years. I suppose it's not relating to the program, but it's the experience that these students get. I get a kick out of that. I think it's a wonderful thing that we've got here, that we're training these people up as part of the program.
Yeah, but it is also meeting the people as well.
Meeting the people.
We've had everyone from the Lord Mayor to the Governor to politicians to really famous people to actors to dancers to everything. Yeah. Guys, thank you so much on behalf of the public for everything that you've done. We hope you've enjoyed seeing the program. We hope you've enjoyed our 400th episode and looking back. We actually have a whole lot more in the vault.
Yes, we do.
And maybe we'll bring them out for the 500th episode. That'll be in 2 years' time if Janice hasn't retired by then, because I never will.
But we hope that you'll join us again for our 401 program.
Next week. Who's on next week?
Who is?
Christy Anthony.
Christy Anthony.
Christy Anthony, who's in charge of all the fringes and all of the festivals here in South Australia. So until next time, everyone say this with me. Keep yourself nice.
Keep yourself nice.
Till then.
Till then.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.